Hey, it's Iris Smith here, helping you find a new job and build a career that you do not want to escape from. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I posted this video here on quiet quitting. If you haven't watched that video yet, I recommend you go watch it, pause this one quickly, and then come back here once you've finished watching that video, because I'm sharing some things, talking about a few things that are important for this video. In this video, I'll share how quiet quitting can actually backfire and bite you in the foot, and why you should take a silent sabbatical instead. And yes, I'm coining that term. Now, if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for popping by. Great to have you here. Perhaps check out some of my other videos on quitting your job, changing careers. If you are not new to my channel, if you've been here before, then thank you so much for coming back here. All right, let's get into it. So over the years, I've helped hundreds of corporate professionals change careers, and a lot of them had actually quietly quit. I've changed careers myself as well, and I've also used quiet quitting as a strategy. So what I'm about to share with you is not just based on my own experience, but also the experience of all those people that I've helped to change careers. And the first thing I want to say, or the first thing I want to share, is that I really believe that quiet quitting is not desirable. Going to work or doing a job that you loathe, that you really do not like, is taxing, it's exhausting, and quiet quitting won't change that. It changes how you show up at work, but it doesn't change how you feel about your work or the job that you do deep down inside. You won't go to work all of a sudden feeling good about it or relaxed or happy. No, that heaviness, that negativity is still there. And in those years that I've helped, all those years I've helped people change careers, I've seen the same thing happening over and over again. As soon as someone disengages, as soon as they emotionally disconnect from work, as soon as they check out, their situation gradually gets worse and worse. Not over a matter of days or the course of weeks, but it's usually over a matter of course of months. And yes, initially it feels nice. I've experienced this myself as well, and I've seen it with all those other people. It feels nice not to care anymore, to kind of go like, fine, I'll just show up, do what I need to do, to not get in trouble, but then that's it. Yes, that initially feels nice, but it never lasts. That not caring, it never lasts. Usually this turns into a vicious circle, downward spiral, where their situation starts to get worse and worse. They dread going to work more and more, and their resentment towards work starts to grow. And it often results in burnout and just pure exhaustion. Now, on that previous video that I did on quiet quitting, I had quite some interesting comments, and people seem to have different opinions on quiet quitting, which I think is fascinating, interesting. And I don't pretend to know it all, to say, oh, quiet quitting is never a good thing. I believe it is more likely to backfire and to bite you in the foot. But this person here, Ariti, said that actually they believe that quiet quitting is a great strategy, especially when you're in a toxic work environment. Now I'm curious, have you yourself, or do you know someone who's used quiet quitting as a strategy and it's actually worked, it's actually benefited you? Please let me know in the comments. Let's start this conversation, let's talk about it, because I personally have never experienced anything good coming of it. Yes, in the short term it can offer kind of a respite, but in the longer term, so over months, it's never really done any good for anyone. So please share your comments in the experience. Share your comments in the experience. Please share your experience in the comments. I do also want to make this note, and to say that, hey, quiet quitting don't feel ashamed if you've done it. It's not doesn't make you a bad person if you've quietly quit. Not at all. It's a human thing to do, to try to find a way to cope with a toxic environment or with a job, a career that's just no longer right for you, but you feel like you don't have the option to quit. So no shame if you've quietly quit, or if you want to quietly quit. As I said, just in my experience, in the long term, it doesn't work. It's actually often resulted in, as I said, in burnout, in exhaustion, and people's relationships have suffered as well. So not necessarily something that I would personally recommend. But what can you do then if you do want to leave your job, but quiet quitting is not the thing that you want to do? Well, there are two clear alternatives. Find another job or take a silent sabbatical. Now, if you're in a toxic work environment, I feel you. It's rough and no one is deserving of that. And if you do find yourself in a toxic work environment, then please, I urge you, do whatever you can to get out. And I know that's not always easy, I know that. But you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your relationships, to your health, to your sanity, please. It's the best thing to get out. Now, you don't need to go find your dream job. Take that pressure off. Don't try to find the perfect job when you're in a toxic work environment. The goal is just to get out. So look for a good enough job or a bridge job. A good enough job is a job that's by no means your dream job, but it's good enough in a sense that it meets a certain need without you needing to make important sacrifices. Now, if you want to know more about good enough jobs, then I recommend you go watch this video, check this one out, in which I talk about good enough jobs in more detail. The other type of job, a bridge job, is a temporary job that's by no means something that you would like to grow in. You don't see a future in it, but there's a demand for these kind of jobs and it helps you to make ends meet or to earn some money whilst you figure out your next steps. So good examples of temporary jobs, of bridge jobs, are jobs in retail or hospitality. I did that when I changed careers myself, and it was really great because I could just go there, earn money, do my thing, and then work on building my business, work on being my own boss on the side. Now, the other thing you can do, as I mentioned, is take a silent sabbatical. Okay, so what is a silent sabbatical? A silent sabbatical is a period in which you actively pursue a personal or professional interest outside of work without actually leaving your job. So great examples of things that you can pursue outside of work are things like writing a novel, doing volunteering work, starting a passion project, or elevating a side project. It could be training for a fitness or physical event. It could be traveling over weekends or holidays that you might have. It could be learning a new skill, spending time with your family, spending more time with yourself, anything that interests you, and you're very intentional with the time that you spend outside of work. Now, this might sound like semantics to you, but there's a huge difference between quiet quitting and a silent sabbatical. The energy and intention behind it are vastly different. So with quiet quitting, you disengage and you stop caring. But with a silent sabbatical, you still care, you just deprioritize your work so you can focus more on other things outside of work. With quiet quitting, you do the least possible to not get into trouble, to not get fired. But with a silent sabbatical, you still care about delivering good work. Ultimately, what it comes down to is that quiet quitting is an escape. You're moving away from something, from your job or your career that you're dissatisfied with. Whereas with a silent sabbatical, that is a bridge. You're moving towards something that interests you, something that matters to you. Another big difference between quiet quitting and a silent sabbatical is that you take a silent sabbatical for a specific period of time. So let's say 3 months, 6 months, or even 9 months, in which you consciously and deliberately defocus on work and shift your attention onto something else that's important to you and of meaning to you. And then during that time, you don't chase the next promotion. You don't go above and beyond at work. You don't give work your all. You keep some energy. You reserve some energy to be able to spend on other things outside of work. Now, a silent sabbatical can give you an increased clarity on the direction that you might want to move in next after your silent sabbatical is over. It can give you inspiration on the direction that you want to move in, or things that you might want to do in your career or outside of your career once the silent sabbatical is over. It can also help you to understand better what's currently working or not working in your job or in your career. And it can even give you a newfound enthusiasm and energy for the work that you're doing. Now, at the end of your silent sabbatical, you might go back fully engaged to the job that you're doing, but then with new skills, new experience, new insight to either move your career forward in the same direction or perhaps in another direction. Or you might leave your job And you're able to do that because you've used that time outside of work to build new skills, to build up experience, and to learn new things so you can then transition into something else. So then the question remains, super important question remains, how do you take a silent sabbatical? So a silent sabbatical is not something that you typically communicate with your employee. You don't go over to your boss and say, hey boss, I'm going to defocus on work for the next 3 to 6 months. Just so you know, I'll be focusing on other things outside of work. No, probably not the wisest thing to do. There are a few things that you can and should do to make sure that your silent sabbatical becomes a success. So here are a few things. Number one, if you can work from home 1 to 2 days a week, great. Take that opportunity and do it. Because when you're working from home, you can more easily spend that time on other things without someone kind of looking over your shoulder and seeing what you're doing. Obviously, as I said, with silent sabbatical, you still care about delivering good work, but you're more flexible in how you spend your day when you're working from home. So that's number one. Number two, put up your boundaries, which could mean that you leave work at the same time every day. You commit to doing that. So whether that's 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., whatever time works for you in the industry that you're in, choose that time that you're going to leave, and then when it comes, leave. Number three, come in an hour earlier, leave an hour earlier. Number four, use your lunch break intentionally. So what that means is that you take 45 minutes to an hour for your lunch, and you use that time to do whatever it is that you want to do outside of work. So that could be writing that novel, working on your passion project or side project, training for that physical or fitness event. Number five, use your public holidays intentionally. So exactly the same. When you have a public holiday, then focus on that professional or personal pursuit during that holiday. Number six, use your annual leave wisely. So ideally around public holidays. If you have a public holiday coming up on a Wednesday, then use your holidays, your annual leave on Thursday and Friday. So you have that whole nice chunk of time off to dedicate and focus on that professional or personal pursuit. Number seven, get focused and intentional about how you spend your day. So perhaps that might mean socializing a little bit less at work so you can be more efficient and productive for the time that you're there. Number eight, renegotiate your hours. So for example, instead of working 5 days a week at 8 hours a day, perhaps you could work 4 days a week at 10 hours a day. Number nine, sneak out for 1 hour during the day and engage in your professional or personal pursuit during that hour. And number 10, plan your work. So what that means is that you do the things that are most important and most time pressing first thing in the morning when you get in. So you don't risk having to do them at the end of the day when you're about to leave and then risking not being able to leave at the time that you said you'd leave. Now, these are just some thoughts and ideas, but obviously you can get very creative about how you set up your silent sabbatical. So if you have some great ideas, then please pop them in the comments so other people can benefit from it as well. And I'm also curious, what do you think about this idea or concept of a silent sabbatical? Is it something that you do or perhaps already have done? Drop your comments below. Let's chat. I'd love to hear your view and your opinion on this. As this is such a new concept, I think a video like this really comes to life with all the comments and conversations that go on in the comment section below. So don't be shy, don't hesitate, let me know what you're thinking, even if you don't agree with me. I love to hear all sorts of opinions. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you think other people would find it helpful, then make sure you like it so this video can reach more people and other people can benefit from as well. Now, if you want some more help to figure out if you should quit your job, then make sure you watch this video in which I share 3 strategies to help you figure out if you should resign, if you should hand in your notice. Thanks again and see you next week. Bye.